Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Afentis. You can get the blueprint for the Afentis from Chipper in Carl's Garrison, however you will have to make it to at least rank 5 before he will sell it to you. Now to build the weapon, you're gonna have to buy the blueprint with 60 stock and then put in 20,000 credits, 8,000 ferrite, 3,500 rubido, 1,200 cryotic and 2 argon crystals. The Afentis is a mastery rank 8 primary spear gun that does primarily puncture damage with the projectile, but there's also a delayed explosion that goes off 0.8 seconds after the projectile hits a target, which does a ton of blast damage in a 3-meter explosion. The weapon also comes with a pretty solid 26% crit chance, a slightly above average 2.2 times crit multiplier, and decent status chance of 24%. And finally, since this is a spear gun, it can also be thrown with the secondary fire button, but unlike with the other spear guns, the effect of this is not actually offensive. It instead projects a field that buffs you and nearby allies. And it provides faster reload speed, faster fire rate, it halves the recoil of any gun fired in this field, and it also doubles your maximum spare ammo. And if you pick up more ammo than you would normally be able to hold with a weapon, you will keep it until you use it. Plus, you can also sustain this buff for 40 seconds if you manage to kill an enemy inside the field. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, this weapon will also reload 33% of its magazine while it's holstered, which is a nice bonus. Now, as far as the build goes, I think the best way of doing things is to simply go with a hybrid of viral and hunter munitions. Though it kind of depends on what you're gonna be doing with it, because of one property that's not so great about the Afentis. This weapon can pin enemies to walls, so if you're doing low level stuff, you want to fire at the enemy's feet and not actually hit them, because if you hit them and they die, they will fly backwards, most likely flying out of the group of enemies that was running towards you, detonating behind them and essentially wasting the explosion. So if you're doing low level stuff, it's not worth running Argon Scope because headshotting the enemies will be more trouble than it's worth. But if you're doing high level content where the enemies won't die from the initial projectile, or you're doing a mission where you can be stationary so you can keep the buff up, you can easily take out Speed Trigger because you don't need the fire rate and run Argon Scope for more crit chance. Or you can run something completely different. You can run bladed rounds for more crit damage, hammer shot if you can't be bothered to aim down sights, or even just primed firestorm for bigger explosions. Now the damage on the Afentis isn't too bad even with a somewhat basic build like this without galvanized mods and arcanes, but it's definitely not amazing. But it is somewhat made up for with the buff that you get when you throw it. Now to be honest here, this weapon in my opinion doesn't really have enough going for it if you factor in all the drawbacks. It's not terrible by any means, it will take you through the entire start chart, do some early sorties, maybe early steel path as well, but by far the best thing about it is the fact that you can throw it and get a nice buff. So all in all, I would only recommend it if you plan on using the secondary function to get a buff for you and nearby allies. And that is pretty much all there is to say about it, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.